Hey Detroit, Bob back from Florida into the nasty gray snowy weather of the region. But I'll tell you what, 2025 is going to be a great year for Rockmine. I got my new Rockmine cap on. We're at about 775 viewers, so I expect to pass 1,000 real soon. And I'm trying a new strategy. I'm getting back into the wilds. We're going to hit the thrift stores, the Goodwill shops. We'll still do record stores, and you might even see some more LPs or other formats of music, records, recordings on Rockmine this year. Always going to love our 45s, and we're always going to lead with them. But by popular demand, some of the viewers want to see some of these other ones. So we're going to throw a few of those in there too. Remember, Discogs for sale. Look me up, Detroit Bob, and subscribe if you like this stuff. All right, if we're ever going to get back to the basics, we got to get back to Gary, Indiana. That's the home of VJ Records, the Jackson 5, the Spaniels, and Big Daddy Kinsey and the Kinsey Report. It's not Detroit, it's not Chicago, it's Gary, Indiana. And there it is, the home of the world famous Jacksons, right there. All right, this is the thrift store of thrift stores. It's the Cadillac of thrift stores. It's a thrift store outlet. It's the biggest thrift store I've ever seen. So when we go in here, we're gonna be buying stuff by the pound. And that's the way we like it. I gotta lower my cost. I've been to record stores all over the United States, Hawaii, France, Florida, Chicago, Detroit, Indianapolis. But this stuff is priced just right. All right, now one thing you got to realize, you're going to be here just digging through stuff. This ain't laid out and sorted. You got shoes, you got shirts, you got clothing. But I'm looking for records. So let's see what we can find in these bins. Well, it's a start. It's a CD/DVD by a guy named Rob Thomas, who used to be with Matchbox 20. The wife used to be a big fan of his. Let's see what it's all about. I'm telling you, it's junk. And you gotta sift through it if you're gonna find anything. A lot of junk. A lot of junk. Yeah. What is this gonna be, a Matchbox 20 trip? Well, it's playable. Here's another one. Matchbox 20. Someone likes Rob Thomas. All right, that was rough, but I only saw one piece of vinyl. I got some CDs. I figured, well, I'll just grease the skids. That might be the next big thing. Rob Thomas, Matchbox 20, Matchbox 20. I did get this little Bola box, and this, I find it fits cassettes perfectly. I think you get like 3 wide. I've got 2 other big ones, so I think I might do CDs, cassettes, music, DVDs, anything that Discogs categorizes, I think is where I'll go this year. But I'm sticking to 45s. I only saw one piece of vinyl in there. It was a 33 1/3 Avita soundtrack. So let's call it a day. All right, I'm gonna head out again today. It's a little nicer out. I see patches of blue sky. We got a little powder of snow. Just got in from shoveling. So welcome to the region in the winter. But I'm gonna hit that same thrift store. And you know, the only thing I found yesterday was like 4 CDs that were actually sellable. 2 that were sort of junk once I got them home and looked at them. And I found one of those Bola boxes that fits cassette tapes. So just gonna hit it the second day in a row and see if there's a turnover of merchandise. So wish me luck. Gary, Indiana, here we come. All right, we got the morning traffic out there. We got the commuters going into Chicago. Come up here to a big split. One way is Detroit, the other way is Chicago. We're gonna go straight right into Gary, Indiana. All right, we're coming into Gary, Indiana, home of the Jackson 5, home of the Spaniels, home of VJ Records. Let's see what we find. I tell you what, this casino's doing pretty good. You see Grand Funk right here in your doorstep. That's a good show. Indiana University's got a regional campus here. Actually took a French class there. All right, we take the Chicago exit, but we're gonna get off at Gary. All right, we're driving through Gary right now, and I guess, well, you historians out there can help me, but on the east side of Broadway, which we're approaching right now, all the streets are named after the presidents in the order of their presidency. But I'm more interested in this little attraction right here. I haven't been there yet. The Jackson family home, which, yes, they ended up on Jackson Street. That's where the family lived, because on the west side of Broadway, that's the way that the streets were named, after the presidents. So whatever President Andrew Jackson was, that's how many west they were of Broadway. All right, here it is. So this is like a Goodwill outlet, and been here a few times. Everything is sold by the pound, so you gotta love that. So let's check it out. Maybe day 2 will be better. All right, today I remembered to bring my little discount card. I had it yesterday. I had to use the phone number lookup option, but I got it today, so I'm in business. Feeling a little more optimistic today. It's the morning crowd, so maybe I beat the crowds. Might as well start right here. What's amazing is this is totally turned over merchandise just since yesterday. Problem is records and CDs are hard to find and all this crap. Remember these? That's an old one. What's this? That's another one. Yeah, I found some Christmas albums, but I'm going to pass on that genre. A lot of Christmas in this. There we go. At least it could have had a 45 in there. That's an album. Believe it or not, that's an album. Not going to buy broken CDs. Yeah, disc 2. Sort of cool, an old crate. Missing. Oh, in Better Days. That would have been a good one to pick up. Someone made an art project out of it. There you go. That's one of your buddies. That's funny. No, you can have it. Oh, I know. Got some kind of weird system where you have to wait till a certain point. You can dig into new carts. People actually line up.
I collect all kinds of CDs, cassettes.
You do the 45s?
Smaller ones?
Yeah. If you see any, let me know. Okay. That's my niche. So you can't touch the carts until they're all done loading them up until the end of this yellow line right here. So you can see people just lining up, waiting for them to bring those last two in. And then the fun begins. This one old guy says, I need a pair of gloves, and I think he's right. Here comes the last cart. I'm sort of hanging out here at the end. Here it comes. Let the games begin.
System though.
This guy's got all the good stuff, so he's way ahead of me. Nice little unit right there. Look at that. That's a good looking CD right there. A little beat up. Let's see if it plays. Okay, so there's some CDs over here. That one's pretty beat up. I want very good or better. Limp Biscuit. Disc 2. Pretty rough. Merrill. Pretty rough. It's nice looking. These look like they've already been flipped over. Jeez, these are rough. Rough. I got here late to the party. It's a nice looking CD. BMG Club. Edition, yeah. So you gotta get picky. Alright, that's a good looking CD right there. It's pretty good shape. Pretty clean. Yeah, it's got a big scratch on it. In the past. Gotta love Collective Soul. That one's clean. This is interesting. It's in pretty good shape. Tommy Bolin. Private Eyes. Not in bad shape. I'd give it a very good. Should I break the ice and get an LP? Got Train Sealed, Drops of Jupiter. That's a nice Seminole Wind by John Anderson. Pick that one up. What's this? I think it's got some age to it. Not your usual hits. I get it. I would have bought that if it would have had the little sleeve cover. Alright, I got a couple bags. Let's call it a day. Alright, after a rough day of thrifting, you know I need a cold libation. And something called Stereo Pilsner at Blockhead Beer Works fits the bill. And I'll tell you what, I've had a sip or two already, and I'm feeling better. Tomorrow I'm going to hit it again, and Friday's episode is looking better with every taste. All right, day 3 of going into Gary to look for some old 45s, and I've been skunked so far. The only thing I got made out of vinyl is 133. I don't even know who the artist is. So hopefully, I'm going to give it today and tomorrow. Hopefully I got something to show you guys. I don't want this to be the first episode where I don't have a 45 for our gem of the week. But wish me luck, man. Slim pickings so far. All right, we're going to head back to Gary. Day number 3. Wish me luck. All right, here we go, heading north to Gary, Indiana. Not quite as far as Chicago. I often wonder what people would think about, America by just going down the highways, looking at our billboards. You see construction, directions, casinos, all sorts of stuff, colleges. You get the casino signs every so often. Hard Rock Cafe, you know, all the fast food. You know, it's just an unbelievable visual landscape, and it really doesn't represent the region. The region, it's its people. You know, so when you go down the highways and the byways, it's just sort of wild when you see all these different sides and so forth. But very cool to see from the outside. I guess the lawyers and the vaping and the cigars and the gasoline, the gas stations. Like I said, casinos have the best signage, so they're throwing their stuff up there. But I'll tell you what, I'm looking for stuff that's part of the history of the area. You know, a lot of these record labels are out of business. A lot of the companies that made the records, a lot of the artists are passed away. So I'm looking for a needle in a haystack in a lot of ways. So far, a lot of CDs, but not a lot of 45s. All right, here we are. Give it another try. And once again, it's an outlet, so we're not messing around. I got a good feeling. I got some good parking. And I'll tell you what, when they sell it by the pound, the price is going to be right. Day number 3, Gary, Indiana outlet. Like I said, let's hope for some 45s. Get some. Get the routine down here. Grab a cart and get at it. God only knows. Wish me luck. The only thing I've been finding here is CDs. And I'm only getting them if they're in great condition. Need a picture of Jesus sailing a ship. We're at the right place. All right, this tub's pretty good. I got some ink spots, Joe Beam, some other jazz. Let's see what the condition is on this one. I'm just gonna pick it up, if anything. Martin Scorsese. Listen to it myself. All right, so right out of that bin, I got all these. Got a cassette tape. I just don't have any vinyl yet. I would have died for something like that as a kid. Saw this at first and I was like, oh God. VHS and 3 out of a 6 set. Maybe 4. I mean, if you're into that, they used to cost about $100. There you go, complete set. For the right kid. 1, 2. All right, time to check out. I got about 30 CDs, maybe 40, and a cassette tape. All right, so I got a big bag of CDs. That's it. No 45s, no LPs, bunch of CDs, and a cassette. It's gonna be an interesting experiment. All right, I got out of there without any vinyl. I got my little chest harness on. Rockmine's the name of the show. Subscribe if you want to follow the hunt. And we're looking for 45 RPMs. I'll take an LP at this point. The only thing I'm finding is CDs and old VHSs. So this place has got one more day before my episode deadline to pay off. So we'll see what happens. I'm not spending a lot of money though, so I'm sort of liking that. Cheers. All right, so far this week I've been getting skunked, so It's 12 degrees out, so I need boxes that look like this to store these. But what I have are these. So I'm gonna cut them down so I can get sort of like that tapered bin. I got these somewhere in Germany, but I don't want to pay, you know, 50 bucks for 2 boxes. I can just make them out of cardboard. So I'm gonna use this cold weather downtime to sort of work on my collection. All right, so what I've done is sort of use this box as a template, and I'll just trace the shape of that box and then extend it all the way back there, and then do the same thing on the other side of this box, and then just cut it with a good box cutter straight across the front. I found that they're sturdy enough to hold up, so you lose your front handle, but you don't lose your back one necessarily, or just barely. So if you're just going to be sitting these on a good sturdy metal shelf and not carrying them, they sort of work good to flip through, because I like to flip. Okay, so there you go. I just scored a line, basically tracing the dimensions all the way around. I guess I'll lose my front handle, but I actually flipped this cutoff part, and I use that too. I set that inside the lid for like a shallow bin, so I get 2 out of 1. All right. So you end up something that looks like this, and you can get fancy and you could reinforce this with some tape, I suppose. That still works as a little bit of a handle, but and you say, well, what about this, the leftover piece? Well, I found it actually works as a shallow. When you put it inside the lid, it works as a shallow bin. So I actually got 2 bins out of 1. But I try to split the difference. Maybe someday I'll get fancy and do some math there, but for right now that works pretty good. All right, so there you go. Sort of the evolution of my stickers, black tabs. I got these white tabs on Amazon. Don't ask why I spell stuff upside down, it's a long story. But this is a lot faster when you're trying to find something than end to end. So that works pretty good for me. Another thing nice about these is they got these have a smaller profile or width. So just a little bit under 8 inches, where with the old one I was at 9. And if my calculations are right, I got a 32-inch shelf that should fit 4 of those, whereas only 3 of these with a lot of wasted space. Okay, so here you are. They're a little rough and ragged. I got 4 shorties now, and then I got 4 of these. These are back room storage. Make sure your box cutter's sharp, and just watch your fingers on these, because you could lop off a finger if you're not careful. But those are for back room storage only. Now you want something nice and cool looking, have your woodworking guy, I had Mike make these up using that same angle. And remember, I'm a flipper, so I like flipping through my records, you know. Here's a nice Weezer that I picked up. Matter of fact, I got another one I ordered. Maybe that'll be our gem of the week if it shows up. But, you know, you can flip just like albums through your picture sleeve 45s and definitely, you know, display them a lot better. All I got to do is throw a coat of stain on this thing, and, you know, it'll look like really, really candy. And then I had him, Mike extrapolated it to these, which are my LP bins. And once again, I'm a flipper, you know. I want to flip. This is the way I grew up looking at. I hate end-to-end storage. I mean, why would you take all that artwork and, you know, reduce it to that? You got great looking albums with great artwork. You want to see them, right? So, you know, all this kind of stuff that we do looks really good on LPs. And I think LPs, really the majestic of the LP is the artwork, you know. Let's face it, some of these images were so bizarre, and, you know, some of them were straight up pop, some of them were abstract, and so cool stuff. All right, back into the inner sanctum of Rockmine, Detroit Bob's laboratory, and it's a little crazy back here, but this is where all the work gets done. Once again, 10,000 45 RPM records. There's a couple computers going there. And essentially this is what I did here. Up top now you can see I got 4 bins, and that fits just on that 32-inch steel rack, which is an adjustable shelving unit that I got at Home Depot. So I'm pretty sure it was Home Depot. And then you can adjust what height you got this thing here. You can adjust what height you want that between the 2 shelves. So make sure you got plenty of clearance. You can see the old nice wood. I'm going to take these out, give them a coat of stain, and these will be for my on the floor. So these are behind the scenes. Once again, make sure your box cutter's sharp. But for storage, you can't beat these things, and you can pull them on and off here pretty easily and sift through them. Or you can just sort of sift through them while you're up here. And, you know, you got all your Beatles or whatever in one bin, your Beach Boys. Alphabetize early because when you get 10,000, you start losing things. Now, another thing is light. You can see how the second shelf, and I'm throwing a lot of light on here right now. I got a couple lights. So you're going to have to put some string lights up atop here. And I've done it here, and you don't really see, but these string lights throw a lot of light on the records themselves. And I centered them over the middle of a 45. That's how I figured that. So what is a 45? 6 3/4 inches or 7 inches or something like that. I know the actual packaging material is 7 1/4, but so you want to have light. See, otherwise you won't see. So every one of these shelves in here has to have light. So I got to do the same on this. And then always use steel, because these particle board things that some of these stores are selling, they sag and they fall apart. So this is reinforced steel, and like I said, you can adjust the shelves. By the time I'm done with this, I'll have 4 on each row, so I'll get 12. You know, I'm doing the math. I got these plastic shelves I'm not happy about. They're just a little wobbly. I'm going to have to make the best of them, and, you know, even though they'll hold stuff, these steel ones, I'm going to bolt them into the wall too. This is really good quality. And then you can see the other steel shelf. This is where I'll put those short ones. As a matter of fact, this is one of those short ones, or shorties as I call them. And they're just for like the inbox, you know, unentered stuff. But they work. And if you got like a short span, they fit a little bit better. They're almost like trays. So they do work. So there's a lot that can be done as far as storage. So I figured, you know, I'm not finding anything this week. So this is a good episode to just sort of give you a peek behind the craziness of Detroit Bob. Cheers. I got one more stop. We're going to run out to Gary again today, and I'll try to pull it together and see what we got for Gem of the Week. All right, 4th day in a row going to Gary. So far, no vinyl. Actually, I got 1 LP, but I've been driving past the sign for the Jackson family home. This is the home where Michael Jackson and his brothers and sisters and parents grew up on Jackson Street. So I just plugged it into GPS. I'm going to go there on the way, check it out, see what it's all about. So stay tuned. All right, I'm going in. I got my list, got my Motown highlighted. There we go, the outlet. One more try, and it's going to be a wrap. Things by the pound. All right, this is how it works. You grab a cart, and you just go through these bins. So, wish me luck. Here's a typical bin. All right, I just met a collector, and he just basically gave me a whole bag full of jazz CDs. So you gotta love that. Here we are in Gary, Indiana, and people have the goodwill to pass stuff along that help you out, you know? So you gotta love that. Guy's name was Mike. He wouldn't go on camera, but he says he's got over 10,000 records. He's from a place called Burns Harbor. And I gave him one of my Detroit Bob cards. He didn't want to be on an episode, but I'll feature these in an episode. He agreed with me. It seems like someone's picking the vinyl off the top before these trays even come out. That's a possibility. There's just way too many DVDs, CDs, and VHS tapes compared to vinyl LPs and 45s. But then again, he says every once in a while you get lucky. But these are just bins, and you got to dive deep. I've already scraped up my hands, and people are wearing gloves. So like you get like elbows deep in this stuff. You could get cut up. You could get God knows what all over your arms and hands. Just ran into a guy with a WXRT shirt on. Got into a chat about Chicago. So that's sort of cool. Starting to see some of the regulars here. Not like I'm on a first name basis with anybody, but if I walk out of here with nothing but those CDs at this point, I'm sort of happy. These people are literally lined up for clothing. When I talked to a guy, it's like concert t-shirts, rock and roll t-shirts, sports t-shirts, sports jerseys are all the rage, and they get sometimes $300, anywhere up to $1,500 for a rare t-shirt. Country Music Cavalcade, Nashville Graffiti. Something like that might be interesting. Pick that up. Sort of looks like a 3 or 4 vinyl, a 3 record set? I don't know. You'd hate to think it was missing one. I'm picking it up. Well, I broke the the vinyl barrier. So I got these 2 sort of blue jean covered Nashville Graffiti and Eddie Arnold Country Music Cavalcades. Be nice to find a Highwaymen painting. Everybody's in search of the gold. Guy told me he found a $30,000 gold bar in here. You know, who knows? It could be true. Another guy said he found $700 in a wallet. But gold seems to be the most popular item that people dig out of these things. I mean, that's pretty cool. Flame tempered. Personal model. Peter Lynn Watts. I can't start collecting this stuff, otherwise I'll just have junk everywhere. But that's what type of thing you could get. They wheel out new carts. Here's the XRT guy. They wheel out the new carts, and then you gotta wait till they ring the buzzer before you can go in those. Okay, someone just handed me a whole stack of LPs. I saw some Peter, Paul, and Mary in there. I'll probably pull that out. We're probably ready for a folk revival with the Dylan movie. My 4th day in a row. The mood in here seems better. It's almost like people are getting ready for the weekend. So people are just giving me stuff. See me with this camera and tell them I'm doing a TV show, and they get all excited. Almost thinks like I should have like something hanging off my cart that just says I collect records. Would that be genius or what?
We're gonna cut the cord on this.
Do you know how to fix that kind of stuff? Yeah, because then it's too much work. Yeah. Yeah. A lot of times the kid has put a toy through the speaker.
But you know what they did? They cut the cord, so I don't like it.
It's not worth it at that point.
This one might be good.
That looks like legit, like some kind of, it's got some kind of weird mesh around it.
I know, it's just,
Yeah, who knows?
I'm gonna take this off.
Yeah. One guy asked me if I was streaming. I'm like, I'm not that sophisticated yet. It's like a little area where people are like sitting down, going through their stuff. I think I'm gonna do the same. I mean, a lot of these are junk LPs, so I'm not gonna take all these home. In a condition, Andy Williams, Tammy Faye Baker, a lot of religious, a lot of show tunes. Midsummer Night's Dream. You know, I got all this stuff. Smothers Brothers, but you know, no jacket. If I can get one gem, that would be nice. There you go. Now, Portraits in Jazz. That looks interesting. No sleeve, but I'll get that. So let's put that in the keep pile, which is going to be right there for right now. Captain and Tennille. Pass. Pass. The Brothers 4. Sort of the pop folk. Definitely not Dylan. Brothers 4. Take an original pressing of Dylan's Freewheeling. So this is interesting. It's almost like 60s up with people, probably religious. This one caught my eye earlier, so I'm gonna get that. You know, it's the condition is the problem. Love Hurts, Lucille, Kathy's Clown. Cover's in pretty good shape. I would call it a placeholder. The Joy of Belly Dancing. Tony Bennett, Carnegie Hall, 1962. I like that, so I'm getting that. Johnny Mathis. The Brothers 4. Robert Goulet. Best of the Imperials. Boy, if that doesn't sound like a doo-wop group. I think they're religious. It's in good shape. I'm gonna get it. Interesting. Songs made famous by Tom Jones. Danny Kaye. Now here's the Peter, Paul, and Mary. Once again, look at the condition. The cover's in really great shape. That's the craziest thing about it. I love them because I remember their songs as a kid. I have no idea what that foghorn means. Chad Mitchell Trio. Interesting. I think he was folky. Some other collectors look through my rejects, so these guys are pretty cool. One guy's got a subwoofer. The other guy's looking through my rejects. He's just a collector. This is what I'm going to take home with me. I got a Stan Kenton, Peter, Paul, and Mary Clean, Portraits in Jazz, Hi-Fi, Everly Brothers, Tony Bennett live at Carnegie Hall, Las Vegas Winners, Ray Charles, Johnny Rivers, Four Seasons, Keely Smith, Still in shrink. It's opened though. Peter, Paul, and Mary. Chad Mitchell Trio was clean. And then these two country music. So that's my haul. All right, that guy's name was Ray. He's an album collector. So one thing about coming back to this place, I'm thinking about getting a big button for my hat that just says, I collect records. Is that over the top or what? I'm gonna do one last run, get out of here, call it a week. Gary, Indiana, met a couple collectors, met some interesting people. You know, I'm glad it came up here. It just totally, it's like ground zero for digging in stuff. And I didn't maybe get my gem out of here, but I feel better for coming. All right, today we're gonna actually go to the Jackson house. We've been passing this sign 4th day in a row. So we're gonna get off at Broadway and check out the Jackson family home. Home of Michael, Tito, Jermaine, the rest of the brothers, Janet Jackson, the parents, the other sisters, the whole family. And how appropriate, 2300 Jackson Street. All right, we're on Broadway, which is the center artery of Gary, Indiana. Laid out in 1906, I believe, by a guy whose last name was Gary. He was an industrialist. I think I just missed my turn, but I'm gonna turn here at 25th and see if we can find the Jackson family home, Gary, Indiana. All right, we're on Jackson Street. Everything west of Broadway is named for the presidents, starting with Washington and going in order of their presidency. So everything east is the states, according to when they came into the Union. So the Jackson 5 grew up on Jackson Street. And sure enough, it's a sunny day. We got down here pretty easy to find. There we go, right there, Jackson Street. Let's see if we can find the house. I think it's at the end of this street. Okay, this one looks sort of fenced off on the left over here. I bet you that's it.
You really got a hold on me. I'm Smokey Robinson. Thank you for stepping into my place.
I bet you that's it.
Or Sirius XM.
There's some stuff on the fence. A very modest, we would call a 2 or 3 bedroom bungalow. That's got to be it, right? Let's take a closer look. All right, I talked to the neighbor, and he said he knew the parents, and I don't know what, you got some graffiti and stuff, but look at a very modest home. How they got whatever 8, 10 kids in there, I have no idea, but I'm imagining a lot of bunk beds, and I don't know what the locks are all about. So it must be some kind of a thing. And I don't see any gloves, but there's a sock. And there's sort of a cool little statue there. I don't know what that's all about. No plaques, no memorials. Some graffiti, Michael, we love you. We love you. And just a very modest neighborhood. We would call this a working class, blue collar neighborhood. A lot of these guys probably worked in the steel mill. As a matter of fact, I know Michael's dad did. And, even like the old man Kinsey, I think Big Daddy Kinsey worked in the steel mill too. So these guys had day jobs. Now, it looks like the old high school next door. That could be Roosevelt. I'm not sure which high school that is, but pretty cool. Now, it looks like they may have bought the house next door because that's all gated off too. But, when I was in Liverpool, I had a chance to see Paul McCartney's home, and I kicked myself that I didn't make that happen. Right next door, unfortunately, with a lot of these houses are run down, burned down, but a lot of them are kept up too, So it's still a viable neighborhood that people are living in. And I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of these guys still work at the mill down here. But it's easy to get to, easier than what I thought it would be. And here we go, right there, Michael Jackson. In memory of Michael J. Jackson, 1958 to 2009. You gave us a lifetime of love, the Jackson family. Parents, Joe and Catherine. Brothers, Jackie, Jermaine, Marlon, Randy, Tito. Sisters, Janet, Latoya, and Rebe. I think Rebe was the oldest sister. Children, Paris, Michael, Catherine, Prince Michael, and Prince Michael II, also known as Blanket. Very cool. You know what? I'm glad I did this. Even if I don't find a gem of the week, this house might be our gem of the week. All right, the name of the show is Rock Mine. This is Detroit Bob. How cool is that? We just went to Michael Jackson's, the Jackson 5, the Jackson family home right here on Jackson Street in Gary, Indiana. And that's one of the cool things about doing this show. It gets me off my butt and gets me into rock and roll history, which, you know, childhood homes have always fascinated me, whether it's a U.S. president or an entertainer, just to get a taste of, you know, what this entertainer had when they grew up and what their life was like. So, very cool. Talked to the neighbor, and he said, yeah, well, you know, that's where he says he runs into the parents once in a while. So if you like this kind of stuff, subscribe down below, hit the subscribe button, and we'll try to do some more of this kind of thing. And I don't know where the Kinseys grew up, but I know I've run into Kenny Kinsey once in a while, but they are sort of the blues royalty of Gary, Indiana, or even the Spaniels or old VJ Records headquarters or the record store. Maybe we'll have to dig up some of those locations and find them too.
I'm very sad about
I'm leaving
the
Gary.
condition of Detroit now, because there's no jobs and there's no
Interesting
people are
finds at
suffering
this
everywhere.
place. I mean, you could go
Detroit was
crazy, but
vibrant and
no
so
45, so
and especially back in the day,
sort of
when
like
we first started
leaving
Motown and
4 days in a
after
row
Motown
without,
and everything like that, and
you know,
the auto industry was happening there.
finding a
Most of them
45.
had jobs
And I really don't want to make
every
something
place.
else our gem of the
And I
week.
miss that. I
I'll tell you
hope
what the
it
highlight
comes
was.
back
Probably
to
going to
where it
Michael
was.
Jackson's home.
Because if it
I want to
doesn't,
go
it'll be
back
that place again.
and see if I can get inside of it. So I told Norm I was going to do that with him at some point, and I think that would be pretty cool. So stay tuned. This final scene, I hope they have something for you, gem of the week, that at least, you know, comes to light. So hang in there.
How'd it go?
I mean, the greatest part of the week was going to Michael Jackson's house. But, you know, as far as, I got some LPs, and the guy gave me like a bag of 45 jazz 45s. So, but I don't have any, I did not run across one jazz CDs. I didn't even get 145 all week long. So what are you going to do? You know? So it might be the first week that I don't have, you know, like a 45 gem of the week.
This came for you in the mail today.
Stop. Oh, I think I know what this is. Hang on.
You need a knife?
Yeah. This was at the post office. This was made out when we were at Florida. So that was cool. All right, let's see what it is. You never know. This thing's really packaged pretty good. I don't want to slice my finger with it. Get it out. Let's get this baby open. I think I know what it is, actually. This is hilarious. Yeah, this thing's blue like crazy. Good thing I've been lifting weights. Aha! You know what this is, right?
No.
You know, down at the Jetty Bar where we go, right? The Tipsy song?
Oh yeah, that's a great song.
Shabuzi's the guy's name. I ordered this before we went to Florida, like a week or two before Florida. And this is it. B-side featuring Noah Cyrus called My Fault. This has like been number one or on the charts for 19 weeks. So that is very cool. That's a, I tell you what, this might be our gem of the week.
That's the gem of the week.
Because it's the only 45 that I got. 7-inch, pretty cool. Detroit Bob, we made it to Michael Jackson's house. That was the best part of the episode. Went to Gary 4 times. I think I could go there once a week on Tuesdays after I take the trash out, and I'd be fine. Met a couple cool dudes, a couple collectors. And you know what? Subscribe if you like these stories. Tipsy, a bar song, gem of the week, Detroit Bob. So there it is, Tipsy, a bar song. So how cool is that? Gem of the week. And this is pretty cool because it came out November 11th, 2024. And I happened to order it directly from Urban Outfitters, which is bizarre. Limited to 2,000 copies. It's a Czech Republic pressing, so you can see that. It's got some hype stickers on the back, a B-side. I think they're all gold vinyl, it says. Stereo gold, 7-inch, 45 RPM single, limited edition. And the reason I even thought about this is at a bar called the Jetty Bar down it's in Fort Pierce, Florida. I kept hearing guys sing this. And Danielle says, oh, that's a good song. And then the guy performed it, I think it was the Thanksgiving Day game of the Detroit Lions. So great song if you haven't heard it. I think I got it for $18, which isn't bad. It's trending high, $46, $30 median. So I could sell this probably right away for $50, sealed. Not to be confused with the last time I bought something from Urban Outfitters, which was this one right here, Weezer's Cover of Africa, which I like better than the original. So I think I got this limited edition. I'm keeping these both in shrink wrap. I don't need to hear it because I can just throw that. This Africa with Back with Rosanna by Weezer. If you remember the great Toto classics, right? So that's pretty cool. But gem of the week, you know, I didn't have a gem of the week, but I knew I had a package sitting around somewhere. So there you go. Tipsy, a bar song. Originally, I think it was a rap song, but it's now sort of like a country rap. The guy's name is Shabuzi. And I hope I'm pronouncing that right. But written by Bailey, Bryan, C. Collins, it's got like a host of writers. But how cool is that? Shabuzi, a bar song, Tipsy, gem of the week.